I think the British public don't want it managed. They want it stopped. And they want it stopped abruptly. We don't want a drip feed of it's gone down by this much, it's gone down by that much. Some of it is related to the weather, some of it is not. We want an abrupt stop to illegal migrants entering our country. I think it's simple. And I'll just go back to why we expect cooperation from France, because stopping the crossing is also in France's interest.
In this intense media clash, BBC presenter Victoria Derbyshire takes on Reform UK representative Leila Cunningham over the party's hardline immigration stance and the mechanics of returning small boats directly to French shores. Rather than grilling Reform UK on the practicalities of international law and diplomacy in good faith, Derbyshire resorts to standard legacy media talking points, pressing Cunningham on physical mechanics, citing Labour's recent policy numbers, pointing out local election losses, and suggesting Nigel Farage is personally under police investigation. Cunningham holds her ground, directly correcting Derbyshire's insinuation regarding Farage, explaining the distinction between a party donation inquiry and a personal investigation, and challenging the narrative that managed decline is acceptable when the public demands real solutions.
Listen, we're not sending soldiers onto French beaches. Of course not. They're an ally, they're a NATO member. We're not threatening France. We're returning people safely to where they embarked after rescuing them at sea.
Sure, and I hear you. I'm just asking physically, practically, what would happen?
Well, I mean, then France would have to, if France did stop us, they would have to explain why it's refusing to accept people who've just departed.
Sure. So you wouldn't be... So I'll come back to the question, sorry.
I understand the question. I'm not involved in the operation of the Navy, but we anticipate cooperation from France. Our mission, again, I'll repeat, is humanitarian. And if someone wants to oppose it, they need to explain why they oppose rescuing people at sea and returning them safely to the country that they just left.
4 months ago, Nigel Farage said that Britain doesn't have a navy capable of joining a foreign war. But according to Mr Farage today, we do have a navy to pursue your small boats policy. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct.
But the French Interior Ministry has said today your plan would be a violation of French sovereignty, as well as a violation of the law of the sea and international law. What's your response to that?
Let's remember, France has already agreed to help secure Britain's borders. We paid it up to £1 billion over many years for France to stop these crossings. So if they're willing to stop people before they leave, why would they refuse to accept the people who have just departed from their own coastline after they've been rescued? We're not asking France to do something entirely new. This has already been agreed through a series of border agreements. We're just helping them out.
Why have they said it would be a violation of French sovereignty as well as a violation of the law of the sea and international law?
I don't know, but we've repeatedly entered into bilateral agreements with France to prevent and manage these crossings.
But not this one. There haven't been any conversations, have there?
No. What my point that I was getting to is that it hasn't even worked, right? So relying on France to stop the boats for us has not worked. And the objective really is not to win an argument with France. The objective is to stop people reaching Britain, full stop. Sure. We detect, we intercept, we will board them and we will return them. And actually it is a humanitarian operation. It is rescue and return.
But you would have to get France's agreement. You say you don't want to enter into an argument with them. You might have to enter into an argument with them and get their agreement. Otherwise, you will not be able to do it, will you? Or will you?
Sure. Well, I'll make 2 points. Listen, if France is willing to honour agreements it's already signed, it doesn't mean we simply give up defending our borders. Obviously, cooperation is preferable, but the principle doesn't change. Our principle is that nobody reaches Britain illegally, and that's it. And the purpose is immediate return. And listen, we anticipate returns with or without prior cooperation because we can't simply abandon control of our borders.
Okay. And well, on that point...
Quickly, Victoria, I'll just quickly... This is a humanitarian rescue mission. So we're going to rescue people from unsafe dinghies, put them on a Royal Navy vessel, give them medical treatment if they need it, and return them to the country they just departed from. On what basis would France refuse a humanitarian operation whose purpose is to save lives?
This is what Zia Youssef said today. He said, if the Elysee Palace refuses... make no mistake, His Majesty's Royal Marines will disembark them safely on the very shore they left that morning. How would they disembark them? Physically, practically, what would happen if in this scenario France hasn't agreed?
Well, listen, we're not sending soldiers onto French beaches. Of course not. They're an ally. They're a NATO member. We're not threatening France. We're returning people safely to where they embarked after rescuing them at sea.
Sure, and I hear you. I'm just asking physically, practically, what would happen?
Well, I mean, then France would have to, I mean, if France did stop us, they would have to explain why it's refusing to accept people who've just departed.
Sure. So you wouldn't be, so I'll come back to the question, sorry.
I understand the question. I'm not involved in the operation of the Navy, but we anticipate cooperation from France. Our mission, again, I'll repeat, is humanitarian. And if someone wants to oppose it, they need to explain why they oppose rescuing people at sea and returning them safely to the country that they just left. That will be on France to make a decision. Sure. They either, also, on another note, they'll either have to honour the agreement they've repeatedly signed up with Britain, and we've paid them up to £1 billion, or explain why they're refusing to take people when we're actually helping them out for free.
So let's imagine they do explain why they're not taking people. I'll come back to the question, how would you physically get people off a Royal Navy boat?
Well, you would dock them and take them up to the shore. I mean,
how?
You would take them, I don't know, I mean, the minutiae detail of how you do that, I am not privy to that.
Like, it's not minutiae though, is it? I understand you're not their immigration spokesman or their Home Office spokesperson. I understand that. It's not minutiae that. This is like really key to whether your policy will work or not.
Well, I think the key matter is that every boat will be, once every boat knows that it will be intercepted by the Royal Navy. And listen, this is not a pushback, which obviously has failed before because pushbacks are dangerous. Those dinghies are dangerous. They will be taken onto a British vessel, medically assessed, given food, and they will be returned back to France. And France will have to explain why they are refusing a rescue and return operation. It's not an act of war. You know, we've spent 8 years relying on France to help us out. We've signed agreement after agreement and the boats are still coming. This is a British operation. And I'm sorry to say it doesn't really depend on French cooperation because this is a rescue and return operation under humanitarian.
It literally does. It literally does depend on French cooperation. Let me put this to you. Crossings are down 43% for this year compared to the same period last year. And according to YouGov, public approval of the government's handling of immigration, that's both legal and illegal, is at its highest since 2021. Could that be because Labour is getting this right?
I understand that crossings are down, but I think the British public don't want it managed. They want it stopped. And they want it stopped abruptly. We don't want a drip feed of it's gone down by this much, it's gone down by that much. Some of it is related to the weather, some of it is not. We want an abrupt stop to illegal migrants entering our country. I think it's simple. And I'll just go back to why we expect cooperation from France, because stopping the crossing is also in France's interest. It will close the camps and smuggling routes in Calais and Dunkirk. That's why they go to France. They want to get to England at the end. They will stop that. It's a huge problem for France as well, having people on Calais and Dunkirk. They want a solution. And this is good for everyone all around.
Farage's personal poll ratings have dropped significantly. According to YouGov, he now has a net favourability rating of -46, which is not only the joint lowest figure recorded by YouGov's tracker in the 10 years it's run, but is actually on a par with Boris Johnson's after the first Partygate revelations and Keir Starmer just before he resigned last month. How worried are you by that?
Listen, for me, the most serious poll is an election. And we've
you've lost the last 5 by-elections and the greater, for the Senedd, for Holyrood and for Westminster, and the greater Manchester mayoral election. So that's not a great track record.
If you see how long we've been around, you know, we're a new party. We're already the second party. We've completely obliterated the Conservatives, who are no longer in the game. This is a party that's been around for over 100 years. They got, 2-3%? We've overtaken them in a very short period of time.
But you still lost these 6 elections.
And that was disappointing, and we will do better. But we are still the second largest party in terms of polls, and actually sometimes the largest in what we poll. I'm not surprised that Nigel's the amount of stories that keep coming out. There's such a focus on Nigel at the moment from the press, and there's a complete lack of focus on any other party or any other leader.
That's not true, but go on, carry on.
We can debate that at another time. I'm not worried. I was just in Clacton actually, and it was incredible. It was really what I found, and this is going to sound corny. for me, that hurt the most is that Nigel represents hope and change. And that's why I joined Reform, and I think that's what people are going to vote for Reform for.
Here is the absolute desperation of the legacy media on full display.
Do you think his personal poll ratings could be down significantly because of the parliamentary and police investigation into him?
I mean, I'll just be clear, there's no police investigation into Nigel. There's no kind of Met investigation whatsoever. Listen, I think
there's a Met investigation into the origin of donations to Reform.
Yes, but not, sorry, I thought you insinuated that there was an investigation into Nigel, which there isn't. I think the path to number 10 will never be a straight line, that it will never be linear. It will go up and down, and as it should.
Is Reform now the party of sleaze?
No, no, of course not. Reform is the party of the people.
The party of the people when you get a £5 million gift for apparently no reason? Does that sound like the party of the people?
Nigel was very clear about the reason. He didn't say it was no reason. He said it was to pay for his security. And I mean, you know, he felt unsafe, and a friend of his helped him out. And you might think it's an absurd amount. You might not agree with it, but that is the reason he's given. So it's not for no reason. And it doesn't discount all the work that Nigel's done in the past, 30 years, trying to fight for the people of this country and the sovereignty of this country.
Okay. Thank you very much for talking to us. Thank you, Leila Cunningham.
What we witnessed in this exchange between Victoria Derbyshire and Leila Cunningham is not merely a heated political interview. It is a textbook case study in how state-aligned broadcast institutions attempt to police the boundaries of political debate when challenged by insurgent political movements. When an interviewer abandons neutral probing to repeatedly press a guest on foreign government objections, weaponize selective polling data, and insinuate personal criminal liability where none exists, it signals a deeper institutional vulnerability. The legacy media apparatus in the UK, long accustomed to operating as the arbiter of what is considered acceptable policy, finds itself increasingly disarmed when confronted by representatives who refuse to accept their framing.